What is going on, everyone? I have been busy this week building and shipping out short blocks for people because things this month have picked up quite a bit, which is not a bad thing at all because it does help fund our projects like this. So for the past couple days, been building some closed deck short blocks, open deck short blocks, been getting those sent out to clients so they can either install them in their cars or they're bringing their cars here for me to install them. So I have like maybe a day and a half to be able to work on the RS. And then I've got another client car coming in this weekend for a surge tank and a whole bunch of other stuff. But beside the point, we have a lot of drivetrain stuff going in on the RS, such as axles, drive shaft, brakes, a ton of goodies showed up to get this thing almost to the point where it's almost ready to be a rolling shell. Now, if you guys remember, I had a Perrin oil cooler, but it was just too thick to fit between the intercooler and the radiator. So I took some measurements, opted to get this SetRab 25 row oil cooler with the brackets and the mounting tabs and everything like that. So we're just gonna have to build some brackets off of these to be able to mount this whole setup somewhere on our chassis. Once we have the oil cooler mounted up, we can actually start doing a lot of the dry sump lines for the feed, the return. We do need to weld one more bung onto this, which I am not going to be doing because my aluminum welding is trash and it will probably leak oil. So to start things off, we also need to do the reverse lockout for our transmission. This video is primarily going to be drivetrain stuff, to be honest, with us adding an oil cooler on the car because that's what I'm doing today. Before we jump to the car, let's actually go ahead and get these brackets mounted up to our oil cooler here. Now, if you buy this little bracket kit, they do give you all these rubber isolators and whatnot, so that way your oil cooler is not going to be vibrating to death because it's the last thing that you want. So let's get our brackets on our oil cooler, get our intercooler off, and start figuring how we're going to mount this to the chassis. We're actually going to start by pulling the bumper off first. That way we can see how we're going to do these brackets, because right now I don't know. All right, I have to undo intercooler piping mounts. Yeah. Also, I think I can just loosen it. No, I built it too well. We can do that, not a problem. That should work perfect. So one of the reasons that you're gonna need an oil cooler with a dry sump is the oil cooler needs to be put on the return side before it goes back into the tank. And what that's going to do, and I should have put the rubber isolator on the other side before I did this. What that's gonna do is help break up any aeration in the oil, because having the pumps and everything pull everything out, it is definitely going to get some aeration. And with the aeration, what we're gonna run into is pockets of air, obviously, in the oil. And then we don't want to be sucking up air into the engine if we get a whole bunch of foaming and frothing going on in there. So this will not only help cool the oil, but it'll also help break all that up. It's actually really nice that they give you these like vibration isolators. There's one more that we actually have to put on too. And then there's going to be one more long piece that goes on right there. We are probably going to have to cut and build some brackets to be able to mount this thing up. I added a bit of foam to the back side, so if it presses up against the radiator, it's not the end of the world. So that at least has something soft. I want to make sure that the intercooler is going to fit before anything else, because there's no sense in mounting all of this and doing all this for the intercooler, obviously not to fit. With it being right there, we are freaking set, man. Fits up really nicely. I will say we may need to do a little bit of trimming on this part of the headlight bracket that's not being used anymore. We can just cut it flush, which isn't a problem. I was gonna do that up here anyways, just because it shows into the grill area. But with the oil cooler here, we have clearance between the intercooler, the oil cooler, and the radiator. None of them touch, which is ideal. So now we need to make brackets for this. So what I'm gonna start with is the bottom brackets, because they're just simple L brackets. The tops are gonna be a little bit different. I don't know how I'm gonna do those quite yet, but we'll cross that bridge after I get the bottom side of the brackets kind of done. Do not follow oil cooler. A little bit. finally ended up with something that I'm happy with. I had a lot of bracket redesign. I think I had 4 or 5 iterations of brackets for this oil cooler, but I'm happy with it. So on the bottom, I originally made L brackets, but they were too tall, so it pushed the oil cooler up higher than it should have been. So I had to go through, I remade these lower L brackets down here, and then I was trying to figure out how to secure the top. But this is 3 points of securement right now. So I ended up making, it's like a Z bracket. I mean, it looks like a Z that goes from the oil cooler. I drilled a hole right here. It's got a riv nut on the other side, so that way it keeps the oil cooler nice and sturdy. So I mean, you could really shake that thing and it's not going to go anywhere. And we've got enough room in there to be able to pass through our lines. It'll come off. It'll come off. This one I may have to oh, brother, I didn't even notice that. That one's going to be a tight fit. But I should be able to make that work, no problem. I should be able to get that. Yeah, man, I didn't even think about that one. With the bumper on, I think it looks great. I do wish it was symmetrical, but you know what? Not everything in life can be perfectly symmetrical, and the hood will cover part of that too, so you're not even gonna see the top half of the oil cooler anyways, but I'm happy with it. We have an air gap between, it's really hard to see, but there is an air gap between the intercooler and the oil cooler, and the oil cooler and the radiator. So nothing is hardcore pressed up against each other. So next up, we're gonna jump over to some drivetrain stuff. We were supposed to have 2 axles. They were both supposed to be delivered today, but one of them stuck in Portland, so we at least got one. So these are DSS Driveshaft Shop 750 wheel horsepower rated front axle, because the other one's not here yet. The other one will be here tomorrow with our carbon drive shaft. So I opted for these mainly because I got these at a better price than what OEM would cost me. And why not go with an upgraded axle if we can? Plus, the reason that I bought new axles, even though I rebuilt an entire set and had them all powder coated and everything like that up there, is because I built those wrong. You see, I put the front cups on the rear shafts, and that's an issue because the rear shaft and the front shaft are different lengths. So instead of getting covered in axle grease again, those are now parts axles for other cars in the future. So we now have these 750 wheel horsepower axles. So let's toss this one in, and then I also got a box in that has all of the reverse lockout cable assembly components, and we need to get that in as well. Once we have both axles and the driveline in and everything like that, we can actually fill up the drivetrain or the transmission with gear oil, which will be solid. One less thing to do. It's almost a rolling shot. We will almost be able to push this car out of the shop in a couple days. Be able to, yep, pull that guy down, swing this guy out of the way. I did go ahead and lube up the end of the shaft that's gonna go in the transmission, so that way it'll kind of go in there a bit better. There we go. With the axle seated in now I can slide it into the hood. Oh, there it is. So I said, don't you want to go into your home? Tie rod, you're making me look like a fool. There we go. Tie rod. That's gotta be it. That's it. So we've got one axle in, DSS 750 wheel axle. Tomorrow we'll be able to get this other one in, as well as the carbon fiber drive shaft going back to the rear diff. The rear axles have not shipped out quite yet, so those are gonna have to happen later, but since we're waiting on that other one, there's one more thing I want to knock out tonight, and that is the reverse lockout cable right up here. Gonna jump over and do the reverse lockout last night, but I forgot I'm missing one component, so I bought that. But we did get in our other axle. We got in our carbon fiber drive shaft from Driveshaft Shop, and this thing is ridiculously light, man. You can pick this thing up with one hand. I am glad they do give hardware for the drive shaft. The whole reason I got the carbon drive shaft is because the 2-piece was about 1/8 of an inch short. So this should be able to pick up that slop, no problem. We also got in our DBA brake rotors for the car. I'm only gonna be putting the front brake assemblies on right now because there's no point in putting the rears on because I still have to do e-brake shoes and everything like that. I did just order e-brake cables for the car, so we should be set there. I also got in all of the material so we can build our cat back in the coming week or so, but same thing as last night. Let's go ahead and get this front axle in. We'll jump over to the drive shaft, then we'll jump over to the front brakes, and we will see how we are looking from there. Similar to the other side, all of this has to come out of the way, scoot this knuckle out of the way, and then we should be able to slide in the axle. Slide our knuckle out of the way. I did lube up the end that goes into the transmission. That should be seated. Then control arm. Look at that. Beautiful. Bottom slides through perfectly. Dude, she's almost ready to be a roller. Oh yeah.
Okay, void them all.
No, we void my warranty if I want to. Look, they got their new little Outback.
Carbon fiber.
I'm supporting this side. There it goes. Look at you. Freaking Mr. Smarty Pants. What'd you tell me wrong way?
Oh, more. It goes up here.
Oh, I knew that. I was testing you.
No.
I was just seeing if you knew.
I'm going to take it off.
I put it on at some point. This is looking pretty good. So we got both of our front axles in, those DSS 750s. Coming back here, we have our carbon fiber drive shaft installed as well. There is a small amount of slop up there, but it does fit. Worst case scenario, if I find it to be an issue, we can have a spacer plate machined to kind of eat up that negative space and just put it in between here and just use a couple longer nuts and bolts on there. But dude, we almost have a full freaking drivetrain in this car at this point. We just need the rear axles, which I believe those actually shipped out today, so they're not gonna be here for a little while. But while we're on the verge of doing suspension, drivetrain, and everything else, since we have our front brake rotors in, we can actually go ahead and assemble the front brakes. So let's jump over to that next. These are our DBA rotors. I believe these are the 4000 series. I could be wrong on that. Yeah, T3 4000 series brake rotors. So we got our fronts right here. Get these things cleaned off with some brake clean. I'm gonna clean off the mounting surface up here as well, because it is relatively dusty. While I don't think it's really gonna make too much of a difference, rather just clean it off. Once our rotor's on, we can get our caliper on, we can get our brake line on, and we can also get the brake pads in for both of the fronts. Beefy rotor, dude. Now, if you're looking to save a little bit of money on any of these components, whether they be OEM or aftermarket, definitely go hit our guys up over at Flatiron Tuning. That's where I've been picking up pretty much everything for the 2.5 RS. Our discount code Smeedia works on a handful of stuff over there. Not every brand out there, but it does work on a good amount of them. Come on. Seeing brakes on here is so, it's just, you know, just in general, it's refreshing to see everything coming together and it actually starting to look like a full car. So driver's side done, DBA rotor, Brembos. I need to get a logo. I need to get speed bleeders for these because I told the powder coater, just leave these in so that way nothing gets into the threads. Hawk pads in here. I don't remember. They're either Goodrich or StopTech stainless steel brake lines back there, but sick. One side down, one more to go. Toss the rear rotors on for now, purely temporarily, just to be able to throw the boxes away, just because there's always so much crap back there. But rear rotors temporarily tossed on, don't look too bad. The fronts I'm super happy with. Like, these look phenomenal, dude. Everything brake-wise in the front is all hooked up. Our brake line is set, our caliper, brake rotor, pads, everything is in its home up here, and I am quite pleased with how that's come out. Unfortunately, I do think that is all the time I have for this video, so this is gonna be a shorter one, so I do apologize, you guys, but we still got a lot of stuff done. Oil cooler core is mounted up. I'm waiting on a couple fittings to come in so that way we can run all the lines for that. Tomorrow I've got a car coming in. I'm doing a surge tank on and a whole bunch of other smaller stuff. So we might do some videos on some of these customer cars as they come in this month. A couple more short blocks to build when those come back from out front. So we're definitely staying busy, but it's what helps fund the channel. It's what helps fund the Subarus. So I'm not gonna complain. But with that being said, on the RS at least, this thing is almost a rolling shell. 2 more axles, once we get those in, I have some 5x114 wheels we're gonna put on this thing, and we're gonna push it out into the world for the first time since August. Which I'm excited to see this thing outside of the shop for a little while. So with that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. If you like the video, if you're stoked with the progress on the 2.5RS, go ahead and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver sign, whatever color it turns for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be, I'll put it in one of these corners. No idea which one quite yet, but with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.